was recorded. I want everyone to put their heads together. In the winter, we need to recruit 2 more people. Why? A share of 6 is Givaldik. It is. But Lemaisa, we don't, people have Einsim, which is okay. Baruch Hashem, people have families. Baruch Hashem, people have obligations. Hopefully, Baruch Hashem, people will push harder to come also. But Lemaisa, we need to pick up 2 more people in the winter. For now, let's get going. We're middle of Lamed Aleph, Amid Beis. We finished the 2 dots. I did not send out a Chazara. I apologize. It had nothing to do with not being reminded. Baruch Hashem, it was one of those days. So, let's pick up from Ta She Ma. We're about 12 lines from the bottom. The first one line is the Asi Lemisrach. Ta She Ma. We'll do a quick 3-minute Chazara. Then we'll go a shtickle weiter. Ta She Ma Esrog Hayashin Pas. Or Yudah Machshir. Yufta, Rava, Yufta. And we remind ourselves, who is this Rava? We see over here, it's a machlekes whether an old esrog is kosher. What does that mean? That means it's a machlekes whether an esrog needs hadar. If you hold the old esrog is kosher, clearly doesn't have to be hadar. Rava said on Amid Aleph, Divrei Hakol, everyone holds an esrog needs hadar. To Yufta, the Rava, to Yufta.
What's Yasmin?
Old.
The shriveled.
Yeah.
I have like 4 of them.
There you go. Frag to Gemara. Wait, by other. Is that accurate? That there's a sheet that holds you don't need to be other. If you holds it's kosher without being other. But not on your kikarti. It's green like a leek. Ramir machshav yuda paiso. La misham de by other. Answer Gemara. No, it's not to reach la misham de like Gemara pre. If it's green like a leek, it's not complete. It's not ripe. Tasha Mashir Asir Cotton, what's the share of a small owl? Sir Gameir Mikay goes to Yudam Kabeya, a nut or an egg. La Misham Devai Hadar, it's so small, it's not beautiful. La Misham Devai Kumar Pri. Tashma third kasha, but Gadol, what's the largest size? Klish Echel Shtayim Yadav Echaz, different Yudav Yusimir, Afilu Bishtay Echad, Bishtay Yadav. My time, La Misham Devai Hadar. Is not because it needs to be beautiful. Like Kundam Rav will be min, Esrik was small. A little bit in the right and Esrik in the left. They're going to get mixed up. They're going to have to try to fix them around. So that's why it's not good. The final kasha of Rav Yehuda, Ksiv Hadar, Shkoyach, all the kashas over Tachlish, Shtein and Pasik. It needs to be Hadar. Answers the Gemara. You know what Rav Yehuda does with the word Hadar? Hadar. It lives Ilana on the tree, Mishana Lashana. So we ended off yesterday with this line that we have a fundamental machlekes. What does the word hadar mean? The trick question is, you ask someone, does everyone hold that an esrog needs hadar? The answer is yes. Does everyone hold an esrog needs to be beautiful? The answer is no. Rav Yehuda holds an esrog needs to be hadar. It's stated in Torah. The pasuk says that. But what does the word hadar mean? It doesn't mean beauty, says Rav Yehuda. It means the hadar, it lives on the tree from year to year.
Oh, it doesn't mean how long you took to find your esrog?
Yeah. See, that's the brisker chama. Interesting. Shalashirov Shalyarnidachas. We go all the way back to the Mishnah. We said in the Mishnah, Lulav HaGazel, V'Hayavesh. Now up to case number 3. Shalashir Shalyarnidachas Lulav longing to an avodah zarah tree. Says the Gemara of Shalashir apostle. Really? Again, Asher is a tree that was worshipped. Is it really possible? Ve'hamar Rava. Lulav shel avodah zara. Lo yitel, you should not take it as the mitzvah. However, says Rava, v'imnatal kosher. So how could the Mishnah say shel Ashera is apostle? We see in the Braisa, Lulav avodah zara, if you take it, it's kosher. Lechatchila, you've had to shouldn't do it. But if you did it, it's kosher. Answers the Gemara, Hacha ba'ashera de Moshe askinon. Talking about an Ashera of Moshe Rabbeinu. What does that mean? Let's take a moment and look at Rashi. Rashi, about 10 lines from the bottom, says, Ba'ashera de Moshe, Oisam sha'ayu b'shas kivush Eretz Yisrael. those that were around at the time of the conquering of Eretz Yisrael. The pasuk says about those trees, "V'ashreyem tisrafun ba'esh." They need to be burnt. And therefore, if you have a tree, if you have a lulav, that you need to burn it, the lulav tzarich shear, there's no shear, there's no size to it. I command the mechles shura. It's as if the shear is chopped down, given to the srifa koi. Back into the Gemara. Let's just read the line, and we'll explain. 1 second, I understand your kasha. Dekatusi michta shira, that the shear is cut down. The shira Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't have a shear. Dekanami, I'll bring you a raya. Dekatani dumya di'erni dachas shma mina. So it comes out a fascinating din. A regular Asherah tree clearly does not have to be burnt down. I think that was your question, right? Only an Asherah of Moshe Rabbeinu, a tree that was worshipped when Klal Yisrael entered in and conquered Eretz Yisrael. Those are special Asherah trees. Those need to be burnt down. And we have a beautiful raya, because the Mishnah says like Yerni Dachas, which also
No, so that was my question.
needs to be burnt down.
If it's similar to Aaron and Dachas, then what's the difference between the two cases?
So the difference is that's not so schwer. Two manifestations of case that needs to be burnt down.
The same thing.
Very good. So the answer to your kasha is, you have to go back to Rashi and the Mishnah. Rashi said, no, I'm wrong. No, you are correct. You are correct.
So you can't have a bazar. It's not hadar. It's not.
So good. So very good. So you're really pointing out when we learned the Mishnah says, you know what the problem with Asherah is? It's a tree they worshipped Avodah Zarah. Period. Problem with the Erni Dachas is that it's going to be burnt, and therefore there's no shear. The Gemara now says, you know what the problem with Asherah is? That there's no shear, it's going to be burned. So fracture Yaakov, which is really, you're asking the same kasha from the other angle. You're asking to say it's another psal, but Kol Zman, the Gemara says that this is the psal. It's mamish the same case as Yerni Dachas. Do not have an answer. It is a beautiful question.
To say it's like this, it's not hadar.
No, I agree.
It's same thing you seal it. At the end of the day.
No, I agree. You're saying you could have said another psal. I agree with you. I mean, it's very fundamental. There's no lack of hider more than something that was utilized in the worship of the Zar. I agree with you.
You can go back to the B'tzal Ba'Baver. You're not allowed to take. We took it, so it's on also.
I don't know. That's a good kasha. And we move on for one more moment. Niktam Ra'isha, the tab is cut off. Amar Rav Huna. La'ishanu el niktam. We only learned that it was chopped off. Aval nistak. If it was just cracked, then kosher.
Hanging on by a thread? What, hanging on by a thread?
Cracked. What exactly means cracked? Good question. Right now, we know it means the top's cracked, but it's still attached. Frakti Gemara, vinista kosher. Is that true? V'atanya, but we learned in a Raisa, lulav, kafuf, a lulav that the top of it is bent over. Kavutz, or there are thorns coming out of the spine. Sadok, if it's literally cracked. Okum, if it's rounded. Daima lamago, like a sickle. Pasul. Charos, if it's very hard. Pasul. Daima lecharos is kosher. So what do we see? We see clearly that if the top of it is, bent all the way over, it's pasul. So how can you say nistak? If it's cracked off, it's going to be kosher. Amar Papa, the Avid Kehimnik. We're talking about that you made it like an hymnik. What does that mean? Rashi says, El Da'avid, really out of time. El Da'avid Kehimnik. Rashi says, Yifutzfor. Shal Barzel Shal Seifrim. What is this? Sheish L'shnei Rashim. There are two heads. Rashi Echan Mefutzal Kach Gadal Alulav Kimin Shtei. Talking about a case with two spines. It's split in the middle. This is actually a case that we have. Pick it up from here a little bit more. B'siyata Dishmayu.